All right, guys, back to the Joe Camo Show. Got a very special guest, one of the best of all time at the lightweight division, number 4 in the world right now. My friend Beniel Dariush, welcome to the show, man. Excited to have you on again. Thank you.
Appreciate it, brother. It's good to be here. It's good to be on the show and just seeing you again.
Thank you, man. Just building this thing back up, and the best way to build it is to bring on amazing people like yourself. And love what you're doing, man. Right now sitting at number 4. First of all, before we get into all this UFC talk and training talk, how's family life? I think you have 2 kids now, right?
Yeah, I have two daughters. One's two in a couple of months, and the other one is 7 months.
God bless them, man. And they keep you busy, and now you've got double the drive now, man. Like more motivation, I would think.
Definitely keep me busy, and I mean, I feel like my motivation was so high before too, so it hasn't changed much.
A lot of people that don't have kids, they don't realize how amazing it is, and, I see it, like, when you talk about them, I could feel the passion, I could feel the love, I could see that, it just shines through, you don't have to say a word, but I can see that, and, I think you express how I feel all the time when I see you on screen with the kids or if they're out around social. I've got 2 kids too, and it's just, they light up your world. A lot of people don't realize until they have kids how amazing the experience really is.
Yep, yep. It's definitely exactly like you say.
I want to start off with some fun here. I got an old UFC one clip I came across here. Hold on, let me just share a screen here. This is going to be comical. One sec here. I gotta learn how to use my own program here. All right, Benil, I want to take you to this fight here. I think it's like UFC one. I just want to have some fun here on the show. This is a fight. I don't even know who the guy is. I apologize if I don't know who this guy is here. I should know who he is. But what happens here? I guess we'll wait till it goes to the beginning of the scene here. I want to know what kind of submission this is, so you get a sneak peek here. He kind of puts pressure on the neck and he's pulling the pants down. And prior, there's a groin strike here. And because I was trying to figure out what type of submission this was here. Wait till kind of goes back. His name is Hackney, I think. But we'll see this for a second here. So it starts off with him, and he's completely out of it here for a second. I mean, the old day UFC, those days are gone. Have you seen these fights, the old UFC fights?
Not all of them, but I've definitely seen some fights for sure.
So here,
Yeah,
let's
I
walk
mean,
through this here. So he's getting struck in the groin here. It's kind of like
yeah,
is it side control. Can you walk us through?
yeah, so he's in side control, but the guy on bottom has his neck, so he's doing the most efficient thing possible. He's going straight to the nuts and pushing his face. So the nut shots, I'm assuming, lower the power level, and then I don't really know what the submission is. If he's putting pressure, if he's biting him, maybe, or maybe if he's just like pulling his pants down, and the guy's so embarrassed he's tapping. The I don't know the submission, but it's seems legit, so
Uh,
can't argue with that.
re-
I have to be stuck in that situation. I mean, personally, I probably would have give up after one or two nut shots. I would have been like, I'm out. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing there, and then there's the hug. There's the hug. That was definitely necessary because you don't want that bad blood.
Okay, I just can't stop laughing. I had to share that with you because I watched that. It came across my feed because I watch a lot of MMA channels, and that one he just strike him in the groin, and then he kind of had pressure on it. And you're the jujitsu guy, like you're a master at jujitsu. I figured I'd ask you, and I think you're a little puzzled with that submission as well. Man, those old days, man, they're gone, and we're kind of grateful that they are for these reasons.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's considered in Brazil. You call that vale tudo. Everything goes, but there's the level of skill. Obviously, it's like comparing a nuclear weapon to an axe or something. That's the best way I could put it.
I just had Matt Arroyo on the show, former UFC vet. You probably heard of Matt Arroyo. He's out in Tampa
Yeah,
training
he
jujitsu.
was a he was a Ultimate Fighter, if I remember correctly.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I just had him on the show. We were talking, and we are just talking about like, would you want to see that like fight to the finish, no rules type thing again, or do you like it more that it's structured? Because again, let's just say like I think I'm the strongest guy in the world. I want to fight anybody in any weight class, right? And there's no limit. Why should there be a timeout? Do you kind of like that aspect of like just fight to the finish, no rules, doesn't matter the weight class? Is there some sort of aspect to that you'd want to see or watch?
I like the rules we have. I guess the only thing maybe I would take out is the time, the rounds. I don't see the point of having rounds. That's one thing I would say. What else is there? I would want to take out. Um, I would allow knees to the head of an opponent, to down an opponent, and kicks
Yeah.
to the face. That like full combat rules. I guess that's it. But I'm good with not going for the nuts and fish hooking and eye poking, and because honestly, if eye pokes are allowed, that's like the ultimate weapon. I the few times I've been eye poked in my fights, I literally I felt like I couldn't do anything. Eh, I think it's worse than groin shots
Right. No,
because
definitely.
it's not. For example, with groin shots, you could work through the pain maybe, but with the eye poke, I can't open my eye no matter how much I want to. I just can't see.
Definitely. I mean, we talked about this as well. It was just the only thing, another thing would be the time limit. So let's just say it goes unlimited, right? I mean, you'd have to limit the prelims would probably have to be gone. Maybe you limit it to 5 fights because each one could easily go over an hour until someone's either just completely spent cardio wise or they get brutally beaten up, right?
I don't know if we need to do unlimited time. That's gonna because when you do that, people will fight much more conservative and
Uh,
more energy efficient, and it's gonna make things boring. I think just 15-minute fights or 25 minutes fights are fine. Just skip the minute break in the rounds, and it kills the momentum.
right. No, that's a good point for sure. I mean, the old days, I think you just went on forever and it was just slow and boring and they sat in guard for the whole time, right? Until someone's legs got tired or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think the Gracies had like matches where it's like a 2 hour match and it was an MMA fight.
For sure. I got another question here because I asked Matt the same question, and his answer is pretty easy on this. But I want to pick your brain as well, okay? Because you're actually a UFC fighter, fully, in shape and in fighting shape and all that. So if we have 5 Krav Maga Israeli fighters, go for your throat, go for the eye gouge, go for the groin. These guys are war torn, just hardcore guys from the battlefield, scars, just versus 5 fully trained like yourself UFC fighters. You could say the same weight, and they went fight to the finish, and let's go. And again, try not to be biased here, but your honest opinion: five on five, go. Who would win the fight? Is Krav Maga versus MMA guys?
There's no weapons, correct?
No weapons, just fight to the finish.
Yeah, I would say MMA guys because, for example, Krav Maga. I don't want to say it's like dirty fighting, but it's because it's not a thing with rules. It's the idea is survival and basically taking your opponent out completely.
Right.
I think MMA fighters win because I could. It's not hard for me to target the groin or the
Exactly.
eyes or whatever. I could do those things. If anything, I hold myself back from not doing those things. So I don't think that would be. I don't think it would be too difficult. I think if you make mistakes, they could definitely take advantage and end it quickly.
Yeah, it's the same answer he said. It was like, what are they going to do? Go for my throat? People go for my throat all the time, right? So it's not like it's just you got to watch. I think you just got to watch it. They don't gouge your eyes and that type of thing. But you could do that too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I love talking fights, man. I could talk about it all day. Yeah, so let's keep going through here. So I'm gonna probably butcher. I'm brutal at butchering. I'm butchering names, but you're fighting a guy named Arman, who's number 8, coming up. I think December 2nd, UFC fight night. You're the main event. Arman Tsarukan, is that right?
Just Sarukian. The T is
Tsarukian.
silent.
Yeah, and again, it's like the media. I hate when the media, oh, this guy's the next guy to beat Islam. He's the next guy. Like, you know what I mean? And I looked at his fights. I think he lost to Gamrot. He looks like a physically strong and capable guy. I looked at your resume, obviously, just way more experience, beat bigger names, tougher fights. How are you feeling about this one? Is there a lot of hype around this guy? Who's the up and coming young guy, that type of thing? Or what's kind of like the energy from the mainstream media on this fight?
Yeah, they're really definitely painting him as the boogeyman.
Right.
But I mean, it's not. This is nothing new. It was the same thing with Gamrot and other guys I fought before, like Tony and
Yep.
Diego Ferreira. When I first fought him, he was undefeated. Second time I fought him, he hadn't lost in like 6, 7 years or something. So it's nothing new.
So, I mean, okay, so I got to talk about the loss. Obviously, Oliveria. Let's put that behind us. What's in the past? In the past. If we keep looking, I've always believed if you keep looking in the rearview mirror, you're gonna crash. Look forward. I was because I'm a fan and a friend, and I was just a little heartbroken from that fight. Is there anything that I don't know if you've probably been asked this before? Is there anything that you know happened? Were you mentally not there? Was it just he caught you? It just wasn't your night. Like what happened there with the loss, and how are you moving forward now?
Yeah, I'm not gonna make excuses. Yeah, I didn't have a good performance. He had a good performance. He won the fight, and that's it, man. I came home. I said I'm gonna do better next time, and that's what I've been doing. I've been focusing on doing better next time, and just gonna move forward like that. If I sit here and make a million excuses, I I take the value of his victory, and I don't want to do that. So I give him all the respect in the world, and I think he did a great job.
For sure. No, I saw that too. Again, this wasn't the Beneil I was used to seeing, and I was disappointed. I'm sure you were. We're moving forward here. Let's get the win December and move towards that belt. That we you obviously it's been a goal for you for a long time. How hungry are you for the belt now, more than ever? Like after that loss, you're coming back. You're like, or are you just taking it one fight at a time still?
My motivations never changed. My It's not my first time losing. It's not my first rodeo as far as that goes. I plan on continuing to push as I've pushed before. I try to outwork everybody and do what I need to do.
No, that's amazing, man. I'm excited to watch it December 2nd. I think this is your first main event. Am I wrong, or is this your first main event?
This is my first main event, and the card they put me on a main event. It's actually I feel very I feel like it's an honor because if you look at the card, it's stacked, and you could put someone else in the main event. You could put other names there. So the fact that they picked me, for me, it's a privilege.
That's the thing. Like you're very humble too, which is amazing because I'm a believer of God and Jesus, very strong in my faith. My faith gets stronger every single year now, and I know you're very faithful. Is that a big part of how humble you are? Because anyone in your position could be like, "Man, I'm on an 8 fight win streak. I'm gonna destroy. I deserve to be on this card. I'm a UFC veteran." And look at you. You're like, I'm lucky to be, grateful to be in that position. Where does the humility come from? Because that's one thing that you're known as, is just being this humble guy. Is that your faith, or is that just how you're born and raised?
I think my faith has a lot to do with it. I think knowing who Jesus is and knowing King of the universe made himself a servant. You shouldn't be prideful. You should humble yourself. So I think that has a lot to do with it. And just I've noticed I have a lot more joy in my life when I stay humble and remember that I'm not I not everything revolves around me. So that's the way I just keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, not to dive into a fully religious conversation here. And again, I'm not knocking anyone's religion. Everyone's got their own religion. I respect all religions. But the more and more I dive into my faith, the more and more I'm immersed in it and I feel it's the truth. And I'm looking at all other faiths, and I'm just so into my faith right now. And it's just after since the pandemic, I just found I got closer and closer to God. And it's helped me myself as well. So and I like that you're an advocate of it, and you're not shy to speak on it. Some people are just like quiet about their faith. I'm glad that you speak on it. So
Yeah, I appreciate it. Obviously, um I think of it as a competing for the audience of one. So that's my focus.
for sure. Also, I want to talk a little bit on some other fights that have happened recently. Islam versus Volkanovski. I watched that fight, and again, I'm not knocking Volkanovski, but dude, I had like short notice. I don't know what it was, like 12 days for that fight or something like that, and he did not look like he was just like flabby. Like he didn't like physically, he didn't look as tight as he used to. Was he just like? Do you think he lost because it was just a short preparation time, or do you think he just got caught and because that was just not him, man? It was just I think it was a short notice. But what are your thoughts on the loss there to Islam?
I think um, coming off of thumb surgery, meaning he's not training as much as he should be, taking the fight so short, not having the preparation time. I think it matters. It does, and it sucks because it tarnishes the victory of Makachev. But I don't want to do that either. He's still one of the best fighters ever, Volkanovski, and for
Yeah.
Makachev to do that, it was very impressive. So there's there's things you can say on both sides. I think Volkanovski, in my opinion, eh, I, I think he made a mistake taking that fight. I think he could have waited, fought in his own weight class, won that fight, and then moved back up with a proper camp. But you know what they say: hindsight is always 20/20. It's easier to make decisions from the future than it is from the past. So with that being said, if he had won the fight, we'd all be praising him.
Yeah,
So it's a hard thing to really grasp. Anyways, very impressed with Makachev, and still have all the respect in the world for Volkanovski.
for sure. Right now, I don't know because you're immersed. You're without excluding you right now. Like, who is probably the best pound for pound UFC fighter currently? Is it Jamal Hill? Who do you? And you're, or you don't even know if you're even okay to answer that. Are you allowed to answer that? Like, it's your opinion on who do you think is one of the best right now, pound for pound? Is it Volkanovski in your opinion? Not
Um,
including you. Not including you. Obviously, we'll take you out of it.
So John Jones is probably the one people will say, and I understand. I just with John's history and everything, for me, I don't always consider him pound for pound. But I mean, the whole pound for pound thing is weird, anyways. In my opinion, the guy that I look at and I say, "Wow, his skill set is very well rounded and impressive." Right now, I would say is Leon Edwards or
Yeah.
Demetrius Johnson. These are the two guys that I look at and I'm like, "Wow." Obviously, Demetrius is incredible. I think he has the greatest skill set in MMA. He does it all and he does it really well. And Leon Edwards, I'm just really impressed with how he can fight forward. He can fight moving back. He can grapple. He can get up. So I've been really impressed with Leon Edwards as well. And those are the two guys that really stick out right now. But you can make a case for Makachev. You can make a case for a lot of these guys. It's a pound for pound is silly in my opinion.
Right. What do you think? As sticking on is Adesanya, right? I heard he's going to be taking a break. He's one of the best to ever do it. And then Strickland, right? Who won there? What do you think of Strickland? Is he the real deal, or do you think he kind of pulled that out, kind of gritty, pulled it out, or do you think he's the real deal and can maintain his? What do you think his fighting style? First and foremost, that box. What do you call it? Is it dirty boxing where you
No,
kind of block? What's it called? I don't know.
that's a Philly shell.
The Philly shell. Do you like this style? Because I
Yeah.
think it's effective because you got the shoulder and then everything's kind of protected.
It's effective against. It's probably one of the most efficient boxing styles for sure. But what makes Sean special is the fact that he can do it and still block kicks. Because most
Right.
people, when they do that, they don't have a good defense for kicks. People will take advantage and they'll kick you. But Sean is able to stop the kicks, so that's what makes Sean special. Um, yeah, that's what stands out to me in that situation. But mm, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad technique. It's just it's not a complete technique, so you have to complete it. What I mean by that is you can use it, but you have to also be prepared to defend against kicks, knees, and elbows. And Sean obviously is doing that.
I've been training martial arts my whole life, and I've been out of it for a long time. I didn't see too much of it, but the only disadvantage I see is that when this hand is down, it takes a while for it to come all the way up. Whereas if you're already set in this position, it's a shorter way for the jab, and it comes to you, quicker. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Like I don't know if it's a good position for at everyday fight, but it works for him, right?
Well, see here, it's true what you're saying. In terms of distance,
Yeah.
the way you had your hands prior with a traditional boxing stance, it's good. But with the Philly shell, what it does, the jab comes from an awkward angle, and it comes faster. It's not maybe not as powerful, but it's got a very good slap to it. It's got a better speed to it,
Right.
and so it does more like for example you see sometimes boxers they're really swelled up their eye closes.
Yeah.
I think that that jab is a good reason for why that happens. It's a so there is reason behind why they do it, and it's not just defense. Offensively it's very good as well.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I wanted your opinion on the Philly shell because again, I saw it. I don't see a lot of people doing it, but I'm seeing now that he's done it and he achieved success with it. I'm wondering if it's going to be implemented more because of that. Something to be monitoring, I think.
Yeah, what's gonna it's gonna be decided by how well you can do this position and defend kicks. Because what Sean did was stop all of Adesanya's kicks and feints. Sean was able to get past the feints and the kicks, and
Right.
that's what allowed him to have the fight that he did. Because in reality, Adesanya is a better kicker and he has great feints.
Yeah.
But I would say where Sean has an advantage is in the boxing department and specifically in the close distance. Um, I would not say far distance and middle distance even Sean, right? And so what Adesanya does is he uses feints and he uses kicks and he keeps you at that long distance. And Sean was able to break through all that because he was able to defend the kicks. He was able to get past the feints, and he's able to defend all the kicks.
Right. All right. So I want to talk a bit about calf kicks because this was something when I used to watch UFC, it wasn't really a thing. And now we're seeing it more and more. The announcers talking about it. Is this something fighters are doing more, and is it something that you guys are more preparing for the calf kicks? Because you don't want to be in the second round with an assault on your leg and it being numb, you know. So are you training for it more and aware of it?
Um, so calf kicks are something that have been around for a long time. It's just they weren't so popular because the sport that kicks the legs the most is Muay Thai.
Right.
So what happens in Muay Thai? They adjusted their stance to really um, defeat the calf kick. Basically, you see a Muay Thai fighter, a lot of times they'll raise their front leg. They're kind of ready for that calf kick. Not a whole lot of jabs from them because they're worried they're going to get kicked in the calf. And defensively they're just super prepared for the leg kicks, right? That's the reason why we didn't see it for a long time. But in MMA, because we don't use the same stance as Muay Thai fighters, it's more available. If you use a traditional boxing stance, especially, it's there all the time. So that's why we're seeing more right now in MMA because MMA is in its growth period and they're trying to figure out what best works. That's why you see guys like Sean Strickland with that Philly stance. He was able to make that work, but he had really good leg defense.
Right.
He was able to stop all of Israel Adesanya's kicks and check them. A lot of people have failed trying to do what he does because they weren't able to stop the kicks, including calf kicks. So um, it's it's a really good weapon to have, and it's really important you have defenses to it because it could it you could be the most skilled fighter, but you take two really bad calf kicks, and all of a sudden you're compromised, and it doesn't matter how skilled you are.
Right. I also want to pick your brain here, a little off topic here. Best of all time, top three. I want to make this a short clip. Beneil Dariush is top three of all time UFC fighters. I'm assuming GSP would be in there. I'm guessing. I'd love to hear your top three of all time.
Yeah, so my top three, I would definitely put GSP out there. He's the guy I watched starting. I used to watch him on UFC Unleashed. I would put Demetrius Johnson out there because of his skill set.
Oh,
He's just incredible. The way he moves, everything he does is nearly perfect. So he's really impressive to me. And then let's see. John Jones is definitely a guy you could put up there. It's just his history with the PEDs and stuff. That's one of the reasons why he's not in. But if not, there's like no denying him, right? Like he is incredible. Um, so those are two right now that I can think of. I'll just leave it at those two. There's too many other options, and if I start getting into it, I'm gonna get lost in it.
awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on as usual. I'm rooting you on December 2nd, man. I'm excited for you, and it's gonna be a good one, man. And once you get past this hurdle, I guess it's like you're gonna probably get another fight, then title shot. Is there any talk about what happens after this fight when you win?
No, just figure it out as we go.
Okay, sounds good, man. As always, man. I appreciate it, and thank you for all the insight. Oh, one last question here. I want to leave this here. I'm asking everybody here this question just for fun. Steven Seagal versus Van Damme. Who wins in a fight in their prime and now. So we got two scenarios. I'm going to ask this for everybody because I love to get the feedback on this. So in their prime and now, who wins in a fight, Seagal or Vandamme?
In their prime, I would probably pick Seagal because he's a much bigger guy.
Wow.
But right now, Van Damme looks like he's in much better shape and ready to go. But yeah, that's just picking based on the weight difference and in their prime. And I know Seagal was an actual. He had some skills in terms of some martial arts, and so did Van Damme. But so size is going to be the difference.
But everybody's saying Van Damme was like a better kickboxer and he would have just kicked his head off. And then you've got all these close, tight moves that Seagal does, which again aren't practical because you see them in the UFC. That's the debate. That's the conversation I had with Matt a couple days ago. So, but you're on the Seagal train in their prime because again, why just better skills or just bigger? You said right, size maybe.
Size different. I don't know if Van Damme had a kickboxing career.
I think you did. I think you did. Yeah.
So that's the thing. Yeah, even with that, so if he really had a kickboxing career, then maybe he does have an advantage. But I'll stick with Seagal.
Seagal will be happy. I think that'll just continue to boost his ego up for sure.
Yeah,
All right, Beniel, always a pleasure, man. I appreciate you. All the best. I'm not even going to wish you good luck because you've got this, man. You don't need luck. You got all the skill in the world. You've got this December 2nd, man. I'm rooting you on, man.
appreciate it, brother. You take care.
I appreciate it. We're out.
Bye bye.
We just gotta go hard.